An arrest warrant has been issued for a teacher who became pregnant by one of her students.
She is now facing continuous sexual abuse of a child after she admitted to having a sexual relationship with her 8th grade student.
A teacher accused of having sex with her 8th grade student and getting pregnant.
That teacher is accused of becoming pregnant after sleeping with an 8th grader.
You're accused of having an inappropriate relationship with an 8th grader.
In 2015, 24-year-old middle school teacher Alexandria Vera engaged in a sexual relationship with one of her students. She got pregnant by the boy, aborted the child, and was caught and charged with continuous sexual abuse of a child. Alexandria Vera, a 24-year-old English middle school teacher who taught 8th grade at Stovall Middle School in Houston, the mother of one, a 6-year-old girl, met the 13-year-old boy during summer school in 2015. She said at first he was rude, asking for her Instagram account name and sending her a follow request. She refused to provide it or accept his invitation. But in the autumn, when the regular school year began, the 13-year-old boy was assigned to one of her 8th grade English classes. The boy started flirting with her, and she claims she initially resisted until the month of September 2015. She became worried when the boy didn't show up to class, so she sent him a message on Instagram and reminded him to turn in an upcoming assignment. He replied and asked for her phone number. Then the boy asked his teacher if they could hang out. She said yes. Vera drove the boy around in her car, and they kissed. The next day, when the boy's parents weren't home, the two had sex for the first time. After that, the sexual encounters occurred almost daily.
Now, in court documents, it explains the extent of their relationship spanning from last September through this January. Vera says this started with messages on Instagram. At first, she says the student was forcefully flirting with her and she turned him down, but later gave in to a request to hang out. Eventually, she said the relationship progressed to daily sexual contact at her house or at the student's parents' house. According to district attorneys, she claims that she met the student's parents and was introduced as his girlfriend. She says the parents were accepting of their relationship and she was then invited to family gatherings.
In January, Vera discovered the boy had gotten her pregnant. When the two told the boy's family, they were ecstatic and supportive. The student's parent not only knew about the relationship, they approved of it and allowed the teen to spend the night at Vera's home, and she would drop him off at home in the morning so he could catch the bus to the middle school. His parents had known about the relationship since October, when they came to the school for an open house. Afterward, she was invited back to their home and introduced to the family as the boy's girlfriend. They were accepting of the relationship, Vera told police, and she was welcomed to the family gatherings thereafter.
The defendant stated that in January she got pregnant with the complainant's baby. She stated that his family was told of the pregnancy and they were very supportive and excited about the baby.
But in court documents, Vera says the student's parents knew about the relationship and they approved of it, allowing the teen to spend the night at Vera's home in spring where they would engage in sex on a regular basis. She told an investigator she would drop him off at home in the morning so he could catch the bus to school. The relationship allegedly lasted for 4 months, ending in January with a pregnancy that Vera terminated.
In February, Vera was visited at school and questioned by Child Protective Services (CPS) about the relationship. Vera denied the relationship and the pregnancy. After that, she chose to abort the baby. Police took her cell phone and she gave them permission to search it. Police said they found many messages between the boy and his teacher, confirming much of the story. In a separate interview, the boy also admitted to the sexual relationship.
Her statement reads that in January she got pregnant but terminated the pregnancy because she felt interrogated by Child Protective Services who unexpectedly showed up at the school. She allegedly denied the pregnancy to CPS. All of this, though, was disclosed to an Aldine ISD peace officer who conducted this investigation and then allegedly confirmed it through a search on her cell phone.
It wasn't until April when the school principal got a tip about Vera, reported it to the school district police department, and they began an investigation. The English teacher admitted to both the principal and a police officer that she'd been having an ongoing relationship with the boy for months. The teacher was immediately removed from the school and placed on administrative leave. 2 months after the police investigation began, and nearly 8 months after 24-year-old Vera started having sex with the 8th grader, authorities issued a warrant for her arrest on a felony charge of continuous sexual abuse of a child. Vera turned herself in at a suburban jail in Montgomery County and was released on a $100,000 bond.
Vera turned herself in on Wednesday morning. She is currently out on bond. Again, she now faces 1 count of continuous sexual abuse of a child.
And was ordered not to have contact with the victim, stay off the internet, have her location tracked by GPS, stay in her house between 8 p.m. and 7 a.m., not talk with any kids, or go near any schools.
While she was out on bond, the former Stovall Middle School teacher was supposed to follow these strict rules laid out by a judge. Vera cannot have any contact with the victim, no internet, have her location tracked by GPS, stay in her house between 8 p.m. and 7 a.m., and not talk with any kids or go near any schools.
Vera violated a couple of her bond conditions, including going to work out at the middle school where she used to teach. She bought a cell phone and set up a new plan, which she wasn't supposed to do. And she did not return home until 8:46 p.m. She was at a local shopping center during that time, but she didn't face any consequences for it.
It shows some video of her in court that we just got, and we'll break this down for you. On June 3rd, she was given those strict rules, and then prosecutors say a week later she went back to Stovall Middle School to run track there to work out, which is against the rules. She also allegedly set up a cell phone plan, also against the rules. And then one of the other things that was in question today on July 26th, prosecutors say she violated her curfew. She was supposed to be back at her home at 8 p.m. and she got back 46 minutes late, to which she admitted to doing. Judge decided not to revoke Alexandria Vera's bond.
The Harris County District Attorney's Office say that the parents could be charged with failure to report child abuse if they did indeed know about the relationship. And there is reports that the boy's mother is being investigated by Child Protective Services and the boy is in foster care while the investigation is carried out. Unfortunately, no any other information is available about that. In November 2016, in court, Vera pleaded guilty to aggravated sexual assault of a child in exchange for a sentence decided by the judge. She was originally charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child, which has a maximum sentence of life in prison. During the trial, the victim wrote a letter to the court expressing that he was in love with Vera. The boy's parents also indicated that they were worried about Vera losing her job. The victim's mother also said that in her culture, the age difference in her son's relationship with his teacher was not an issue.
Judge McSpadden also made statements that both Vera, her family, the victim, and his family wrote letters to the court in support of the relationship, claiming that it was culturally okay. He also said the mother was more worried about Vera losing her job.
He said that it didn't necessarily go against Vera's punishment, but that the victim's mother wrote a letter in all of this, and he said it was worded in a way that almost sounded like it was excusing the behavior and blaming it on a cultural acceptance. The judge said that the laws will never be on the side of whatever cultural reference that she was insinuating in that letter.
Defense attorney Ricardo Rodriguez called only one witness, a therapist who profiled Vera, to outline her mental state. I think she was driven by being in love with him, said Karen Lawson, a mental health professional who works with sex offenders, including sex addicts. Lawson said Vera's history of seeing domestic violence situations as she was growing up, coupled with a deep need of love, led her to a relationship with a young man who flattered and seemed to adore her.
The only witness to take the stand was a clinical psychologist. She said Vera witnessed domestic violence growing up and that she had been in destructive relationships in the past and was a good candidate for therapy, that Vera had a history of deception as well.
This psychologist also said that Vera crossed boundaries as a teacher and claims that Stovall Middle School has a culture of teachers socializing with their students. Now, Vera's attorney continuously labeled Vera as a cooperative person because she responded to authorities and she was open and honest with the psychologist.
The prosecution, on the other hand, showed evidence that Vera had explicit photos of herself and the 13-year-old male student on her phone, and that Vera moved the boy's father into her own home and initially told police she was dating the boy's father. She also bought the family groceries and paid their cell phone bill and admitted to having a sexual relationship with the boy. Vera also allowed 2 8th graders to have sex in her home. The prosecutor added that Vera's 6-year-old daughter knew about the illicit relationship and for some time called the 13-year-old dad.
The prosecutor said that they found other text messages on Vera's phone implying inappropriate relationships with students, not necessarily sexual relationships, but encouraging one student to date another and then opening her home up for students to have sex there. Now, the prosecutor said that the victim also, that Vera also has a 6-year-old child and that 6-year-old was calling this 13-year-old victim, in this case, her dad.
Judge Michael McSpadden said Alexandria Vera's sentencing should serve as a warning to others who are thinking of doing the same thing. He went on to say, "We want teachers to educate our children. We want teachers to keep their hands off of them. Then he sentenced Vera to 10 years in prison. He added that the 10 years sentence should be seen as a fair warning to teachers. If you conduct this kind of crime in the future, you will face a severe punishment if you do. He also said he does not believe Vera is a danger to other children, specifically not a classic pedophile, but that he needed to send a message to the community.
As 25-year-old Alexandria Vera hugged her family goodbye, she was taken away by deputies. Friday morning, Judge Michael McSpadden formally sentenced the former Aldine ISD middle school teacher to 10 years behind bars.
Normally on cases like this, they get 3 life sentences. So if I was Alex, I'd be counting my blessings.
Before Alexandria Vera was sent to prison, the judge said that he believed Vera truly felt sorry for what she did, but that he has to set an example for other teachers. Again, Vera has been sentenced to 10 years in prison, but on good behavior, she could get parole in 5 years.
The judge said that Vera knew what she was doing was wrong, but believes that this was a one-time thing.
In December, the Senate Education Committee started reviewing and implementing new laws to combat the apparent rise in inappropriate student-teacher relationships. The Texas Education Agency, TEA, says the number of investigations involving these inappropriate relationships rose from 141 in 2009-2010 to 179 in 2013-14 and was up to 188 in 2014-15.
No comment.
Háblame un poquito. ¿Qué pasó con este niño?
No comment.
Did you have a baby with him? Are you pregnant?